To me, your comedy is like crypto. I don't understand it, but I admire it. You know.
Hello, boys.
Hello, hello.
Howdy.
Howdy. So, rather late night for me. I got my passion back for crypto.
We've all been low down a little bit, maybe a tiny bit crypto depressed, but you've still had the passion.
Those bear market blues.
So we'll get into that in a moment, but sort of, hot off the press today, guys, PayPal stablecoin. So if you don't know about this, PayPal have just launched a stablecoin. The people behind it, who are custodying it, are Paxos. Thoughts on this, guys? Do you know much about this? I know it's just happened.
It's launched on the Ethereum network. Ethereum did nothing in response. A lot of people have been pointing out some of the interesting things that were written into the code of the smart contract. The most interesting, noteworthy thing is that it's written into the contract that accounts can be frozen and coins can be deleted.
No, thank you.
Yeah, there's two bits of code in there covering those two things, which realistically, the Circle have already done that. So, that kind of is the future of stablecoins, right?
It's one thing that we have a corrupt financial system now that's been going on for a long time. I get that. But as people are more and more awakened to this reality, what I don't get is if there's something like this happening where PayPal is introducing this thing where it's like, hey guys, here's a bit of cheese, just come right towards my trap. I mean, that's what it feels like to me. I may be in 2023 a bit of a paranoid schizophrenic at this point, but I don't trust even like a barely centralized system company sort of thing. I'm still weary. What's going on? Where is this trust coming from? I thought we've been given enough reasons not to trust. What's going on?
What is happening?
I've got some pretty strong thoughts around this. The big problem we've got at the moment are the on-ramps, on and off ramps, basically. When I look at the video we also did with Richard Hart, he was claiming, look, it was in the top 20 coins as far as turnover goes.
CoinMarketCap forcibly forces HEX onto page 3 when it belongs on page 1.
But coming back to what you're saying there, Jesse, one of the predictions I made in I think the first show we did this year was that, this would be all about legislation and regulation. And the fact that it would be very regional. We've seen some big moves out of China, especially with what they're doing in Hong Kong. So really what I see going on with PayPal is America coming to the party now. I don't really have an issue here because what it does is open up the ability to on-ramp into crypto to hundreds of millions of people that are PayPal users. So I'm all for that. Now, as long as you know that if you're using that coin and somebody else decides that it's for nefarious reasons, they have the ability to switch that off. But the simple reality is you can onboard easily now and then go buy some Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever else you want to do.
I agree. As the space develops, I think we've had this discussion in the past where there's kind of going to be two markets that develop, where you have the people who understand how to maintain all of the properties of decentralized assets, privacy, immutability, unconfiscatability. These are all properties that we have today, and any basic to intermediate user will maintain those properties with the digital assets that they hold. As the space develops and as new on-ramps become more regulated and controlled, a lot of those properties are going to go away. A lot of these institutions aren't going to turn down an opportunity to make a buck.
Greed, ugliness.
They're just going to do so in a way that tricks a lot of people into thinking that they hold something that they don't actually hold. Like, you will hold the asset, but what does Bitcoin have any value if your Bitcoin can be turned off at your wallet? And the answer is no. So it's a lot of education that needs to go out there.
Get an education.
Look, I know CZ is good friends with the guy from Paxos. Now, to me, it's kind of funny that there's litigation against Binance happening right now. That's a massive story. Could be the last sort of big centralized exchange, in my opinion, if they find a way to take it down. Now, the fact that Paxos is involved here, that really surprises me.
Surprise.
Fiat is coming in. to the ecosystem. We experienced that for the first time in a decentralized way with DAI, and DAI is very decentralized, and Tether and USDC. That wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough for the regulators. It offers too much freedom. So we need other stable coins that are going to be on their side that they can shut down. And I don't really like stable coins, but I understand that they're a necessary evil, especially when it comes to network adoption. People don't want volatility. They want an option to reduce volatility. They want access to a stable asset, a fiat currency, and it's coming in. So it's a double-edged sword. It's going to bring liquidity, but it's going to bring a lot of FUD. And
well, exactly. So, the big opportunities clearly at the moment for anyone looking to launch a company in this space are clearly sit on layer twos, which will be the payment rails. You can have Bitcoin and Ethereum as your base layers. In Bitcoin's case, the vision of the white paper was digital payments. It's ended up being really, in my opinion, a store of value because of block size, which effectively gives it the security that it's got. But if I look at somebody like Didi, who spent years going around the planet trying to show, hey, you can buy this with Bitcoin here and blah blah blah. For me, it's really that store of value.
It's always been a store of value for me, right? But here's an interesting thing. There's a video of some blonde lady at a Whole Foods, and she pays for her groceries with her hand.
That's the coolest thing ever.
It works. Oh my God, it's so cool. And you're like, yeah, it's so cool that the mark of the beast has been tattooed on your hand. But it also made me think, let's say it's not Whole Foods. Let's say it's some smaller mom and pop organization and they're into crypto. Now that you can start scanning hands to connect your bank account, you would think it almost would be an easy step to include Bitcoin into that. Like, what if I don't want to get chipped by the government, but I want to chip myself for Bitcoin? Granted, that opens up a whole laundry list of new issues, like someone cutting off my hand and running off with all my Bitcoin. But fiat in terms of paper money going out the window is upon us, more so in some countries than others, obviously.
Yeah.
But as Karen from Colorado is putting her palm up to get her Wheaties, it just made me wonder, because Baloo, like you said, there's going to be two crowds. You're going to have some people who are like, govern me, daddy. And then you're going to have other people saying,
fuck that shit.
But where is the intersection of the technology, the universal technology, and government controlled currency as opposed to Bitcoin? There's got to be an intersection there where the rebels and the system both end up using some sort of the same technology at some point in a crossroads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I interviewed the guy that invented blockchain back at Bell Labs. Bitcoin always had that sort of perception, this is for criminals. This is how you can buy drugs online, blah, 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 blah. But what people have failed to realize is that a blockchain is just a permanent record of everything you've ever done. And it's public. People can look it up. So, yes, of course, you've got mixers, et cetera, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of those guys behind those companies are currently in prison. So, that those initiatives were very quickly stamped out. Jesse, you're right. There will be two parallel economies to a certain degree, and it's realistically only going to be Bitcoin that's going to provide that second option. We've all been shocked that they appear to be pushing everyone out of the country, but the reality here is basically what they're now realizing is we can't just hand the entire blockchain tech industry over to our competitors, primarily China and to a certain degree Russia. It terrifies me that is built into that PayPal offering. It's very much brushed over and what just reeked of a press release when I first heard about this, as opposed to journalism. But it will enable people to come into the space. Easy.
I like the idea of even the most scary systems where you could easily get your money taken and frozen and deleted, but using it on a small scale and not relying on it. It's almost like, be in the system, make it seem like you're doing it correctly for them.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, what really excited me about crypto back in sort of early 2016 when I first came across it was I didn't really understand money, and that's why we kind of started what we did back then. It was just, geez, let's just get going, start writing articles and learn along the way. Look, I think most people I certainly wouldn't call them dumb. They just don't understand how the financial system works at all. They don't understand fractional reserve banking. They don't understand what a reserve bank is, what a central bank is. They don't understand that when you put your money in a bank, it's legally theirs to do with what they like. So, this initiative clearly has been worked on stringently in the background because it's sort of come out of left field with PayPal. It's big, but it's really the US saying, "Hey, guess what? We're not anti-crypto, but yeah, play by our rules, and you can be part of this industry." But
yeah, we're not anti-crypto as long as the US dollar is number one.
Well, I mean, this has been the thing that always amazed me because it would be the quickest way for them to undermine their currency by making it impossible for people to use it on the blockchain. China wins. Terrible move, US. So here we go, game on. So that's huge. That's huge news today. Coming back to the show that Tone did with somebody I've had on the channel, I think 3 times, a guy called Simon Dixon. He's very much embroiled in this whole Alex Majinsky drama at the moment with Celsius. He makes a really interesting point, and here it is.
I file lawsuits all the time on guys who steal a couple of $1 million and they're blowing, the $12 million. I can make those allegations. The SEC better have something more than this, that the only misappropriation was 12 million. Because if this is just a civil unregistered sale of a security, then none of this makes sense.
How does this relate to the fact that there's just a person with what appears to be no limited liability, no company, no structure, and that was just money that, his whole thing is by using the word sacrifice, they were essentially giving this address money, and that was not put into a company. It was obviously he was very, very careful. He knew securities laws in terms of what words to say, and he's obviously got some kind of mental condition. I don't know what it is.
The reason I love this show and would encourage you to watch the whole thing is the 2 lawyers sort of seem to have quite different opinions on a number of things, and I think Simon raised a great point there. They're going after an individual for 12 million. Now have a look at this clip by one of the lawyers.
The biggest claim you have against me for misappropriation is I took $12 million to spend it on my lifestyle. Here's $12 million back right now. Right to the check. If I'm worth 500 million, that's worth 12 million in legal fees to if he hires a real lawyer. I'm dying to see who he hires. If he defaults, then none of you guys are right. No, there's no way he defaults with $1 billion in his pocket.
So fascinating, right? Basically what he's saying there is that Richard Hart would have had the opportunity to take out a checkbook and say, okay, 12 mil, sorry about that. And then there's some case law around that, and highly unlikely that he would then be further prosecuted by the DOJ, Department of Justice, and the SEC. So now, as the show goes on, you can see these guys really going, hang on a minute, is this guy actually going up against the US government on purpose? And look at this comment.
The securities laws, the 33 and the 34 Act were interpreted by the Supreme Court a long time ago, were intended to be flexible and dynamic in order to combat the changing schemes that are able to appear and be created faster than laws can be created to adjust for them. And Richard thought that he could get over Howie by simply not telling you where the money's going. That's the arrogance of Richard Hart. Richard Hart thought that if you pushed the button that chose to stake the funds, that somehow you're in control, and that his creation of the software him paying for it to be created, him promoting it, him pumping it, him publishing it, him doing all of those things would absolve him of any management and control arm of the Howey test, because you, the idiot that he targeted, and he told people they're not smart enough to know what to do with their own money, so he was going to take it from them. Those are his words.
Yes. And that's why I love this guy. There's a little bit of me that actually loves this guy. This guy is the opposite of Alex Mashinsky. This guy did not go out to the marketplace and say, I am giving you a new form of a bank. The banks are making all the money right now. And you, the user of the bank who give the bank your money, you are getting a 1% return on your savings rate.
They had the same shtick at the same time. They sold the same piece of shit.
No, he sold a prettier piece of shit.
Mashinsky or Hex?
No, Hart. He sold something prettier. He said, I'm stealing your money.
No, he sold an undisguised piece of shit, whereas Mashinsky disguised the piece of shit.
So for those of you that don't know, the Howey test has been around, I believe, since the 50s. And it's what's used to assess whether something is a security. So a security is where you're an equity owner, you are buying something with the intention that you're going to make money from it from other people's efforts. So a utility token, that's a token that you can actually use to do something with. There's always been that argument that Bitcoin and Ethereum, from a legal point of view, were actually utility tokens, but because you had to purchase those to then come into the ecosystem. Moving forward here, the other interesting things is obviously what a blockchain enables people to do is to track payments. Now, it's pretty easy in most respects. And basically what they're saying here is that Richard Hart has, by the look of it, 720 million US dollar value of DAI, which is the the MakerDAO stable coin. It looks like 270 million was siphoned out of HEX. To me, this is, I think, without a doubt, the biggest story in crypto, going way back to sort of 2016, 2017 with the the hard forks. I really do. I think that this is that big. I'm starting to think that Richard Hart wants this battle. That's why he didn't sign that check, and he wants to, demonstrate to the world that things maybe need to be changed. And on that note,
he's also gonna like if he goes to battle and wins, like holy,
it changes everything. It changes finance.
Well, not only that, like he's good. That's like the number one marketing you can do for Hex. I mean, Hex is going to go crazy.
Well, on that note, here is another clip from Tone Vaser's show. This is about something we've covered. This movie that's now in theaters. Here it is.
I don't know if this is a fake trailer, but if this is the movie he paid for, this is insane.
I don't say this often. I'm willing to go see that movie.
If we can stream it somewhere, I'm in.
All of them saying, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
This is going to spread like wildfire. I can't wait to see it. So you imagine if this gets traction and starts hitting mainstream, you could see, and if it is true, there are no admin keys. Look, the guy may have given people the most wonderful basic lesson in what a blockchain is, what decentralization is, in a really weird way. I hope it turns out to be that. That would just make me so unbelievably happy. He's going to get attacked from every goddamn direction. It's going to be incredible how this plays out. I think a lot of it, mainstream are going to have a field day with this, but maybe they sort of walk into that same sort of softly catchy monkey type scenario that Scott Stornetta talked about. Slowly, people start using blockchain, boom, everyone realizes, okay, this is a public ledger. You can see what everyone's up to. And at the moment, people are just so goddamn sick of not knowing what the hell is going on. Having needles stuck in you that didn't go through human trials, then learning that all 78 vaccines out of the FDA never had human trials. This is an insane world right now. And maybe Richard Hart sort of bows out with one almighty bang. I hope so.
I just have this feeling that he's going to get away with it. Like, I just have this gut feeling that not only is he going to get away with it, but he's going to get away with it in the most public and bullish way possible, where he's going to be like the poster child of fuck you, fuck the system.
The system is rigged.
Crypto has just been a clusterfuck of centralized players that didn't really need a blockchain at all for what they were doing, ripping people off. You know, even some of the big Bitcoin channels, the companies that they were sponsored by, those guys are in prison or bankrupt. So, you know, it's been a mess, but it's exciting again. You know, it's geopolitical now. You've got presidential candidates talking about it. You know, 2016, there was a handful of us, and it pains me that such good content that Tone put together with those lawyers and Simon Dixon, key players in the space that really get it. There's just hardly anybody watching it.
Oh, I mean, let's be honest. It's we were just talking about this off camera. It's ridiculously boring content for most people.
Yeah.
Sean, you are balls deep, beyond balls deep in crypto. The fact is, when I go on YouTube and I type in just the word crypto, it's just the same. It's the same like 7 or 8 faces. Do this in 24 hours, or you'll lose everything. Or like, and it's like, I get it. You have to have enticing clickbait to a certain degree. But what I see on YouTube, there's almost no room for genuine, intelligent discussion and debate. It's just TikTokers.
You know, times have gotten tough. People are being squeezed and they're running out of options. Like, you can't just work anymore. You got to work and invest. What do you invest in? How do you get a good return? Inflation is, you know, above what you're going to get from an index fund. So you have people who are financially illiterate for the most part, who are taking punts on stuff that they don't fully understand because somebody told them to. And it's just, they're trying to make a buck so that they can put it away somewhere or buy a house or make their life better or whatever the case. But they're really, really stuck in this rat race, and they don't have the appropriate financial literacy to be making these types of decisions that are really going to outperform the market. So you just get this feedback loop, and YouTube is terrible. You know, people watching this, you have to realize that YouTube is an algorithm that services demand. Okay. The more people click on stuff that they think is going to make them money, the higher those videos rank. There is no value. Like, how many times have you watched a YouTube video where somebody says, oh, buy this coin now, and it's mooning, like, we'll just say Shiba Inu. Like, by the time everybody was talking about Shiba Inu, every fucking YouTuber was talking about Shiba Inu. That was the top.
I mean, there was an investment thesis on, exactly as you say, on YouTube channels with guys punting coins to sizable communities, and whoever hit buy first won. And you know, in a weird way, that's what Richard Hart with HEX sort of said from day one. You know, the whole thing is designed. You're rewarded if you're in there first and you've staked it for X amount of time, and blah blah blah. You know, I hope he's been smart enough to really put up a good fight here. I mean, indications are that they're going after him for $12 million.
I'm with Baloo. I have a gut instinct that tells me that
it's going to go well for him, even though I don't want to see it go well for him.
But
don't
you potentially want hundreds of millions of people to understand the you know the madness of that education if he pulls that off? And
but it's the school of hard knocks.
It's
the school of hard knocks. A lot of people are going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're going to learn the hard way. And, you know, the best way to learn something is through a mistake. So a lot of people are going to learn the hard way. They're going to learn through their mistakes. But it's just unfortunate that, you know, to me, it's crystal clear. And, you know, I find myself in many Twitter arguments with Hexicans or XRP Army or all these guys, like, you're never going to change their mind. They, you know, if you've been in the space long enough, you hear do your own research. Like, nobody actually, like, that's such a vague thing. Nobody actually knows what that means. And it basically just means support your own community effectively. We have uneducated
and what's
people
wrong with
teaching
that?
What's wrong with what?
Supporting a community.
There's nothing wrong with supporting a community. It's just the community is built on sand, and it's the blind leading the blind.
So but that's why this one fascinates me. You know, to hear these lawyers sort of, you can literally.
But what's the net benefit here? Like, okay, you're going to give a lot of attention to HEX, then everybody's going to buy HEX, and then HEX fucking dumps, and everybody loses all the money on HEX.
The net benefit would be that people would understand how a blockchain works, because, you know, look at the clips we've shown. These guys are able to say, okay, he's got X amount of 740 million, I think it was, in a stable coin. You know, 217 million moved out of the HEX platform. It went here. Was he just effectively, you know, using that as collateral for interest and then sort of washing it all back through, pumping the price? We're going to see. It's all there publicly. Can they prove it was him? Can they prove that? You know, that was always the big joke, right? Is this his wallet? So, you know, the fact he's put out a movie, it's just, you know, he's poking a bear. He really is. He's, you know, these lawyers are astounded he didn't cut the check for 12 mil and be done, and all likelihood. You know, then you've got Alex Majinsky, who's done people for hundreds of millions, but that was a company. That, you know, that there's clear laws around how a company is run. So the worst case here for me is that people start to really understand the difference of DeFi and a centralized financial entity. Now, hopefully DeFi makes a massive comeback and can eat some of these companies and do a better job. But the reality is they will be quite regulated, and that's what we're seeing with the PayPal, the payment rails. So DeFi ultimately, I think, probably plugs into central bank digital currencies in the future in the main, but there will be that second sort of channel for the fuck you people. But ultimately,
DeFi, centralized, decentralized finance.
Yeah. So, you know, look, I'm interested again, big time.
Well, that's good. If you're getting interested, then times are changing, and we need a changing of times.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I mean, I think that's enough for today, boys. We don't want to have people look and go, oh God, it's 45 minutes. I don't want to watch that.
True.
So here's the 30-second summary.
Yeah.
Buy Bitcoin. See you next week.
Buy Bitcoin if you don't understand it. It's okay.
Yeah. Advice. All right, guys.
Financial advice.
Yeah. So we'll see you back here for this crypto update show. I'm enjoying it. Look at, you know, it's three mates chatting, and, you know, as we build a community again, I guess we'll get into, you know, the nitty gritty a bit more and make some permanent content that shows you how to buy, how to store, etc. But yeah, for now, sorry it's so long. It's just us chatting.
All right, guys.